In this lesson, we're going to create the belly pan for our car. Alright, so the belly pan is going to be used to keep the underneath from rendering the back sides. So if we were to render this car out and we didn't have a belly pan, there's a pretty good chance that we could see in between the grille or even through the wheels or something like that. And it might render out like a background that's in that. It would make it appear as if there's nothing there, just kind of like what we see here. If we could see through that, we might be able to see an image or something like that. So blocking it in with a belly pan is a really great way of making sure that it looks nice and neat, okay, whenever it's rendered. So to do this, let's go ahead and grab a cylinder. Let's go to our left view, and I'm just going to left click and drag out a cylinder right out here to the outer edge of our wheelbase there. Okay, and I have this cap segments turned on right now, and I have that set to 2, also with 12 sides. Let's convert this over to an editable poly object, and let's remove some of these edges. I'm going to actually remove this middle segment, so hit Control Backspace, and that's going to be on both sides as well. So double click on that, hit Control Backspace, and then I'm going to take all of the polygons except for the front polygons and delete those out. Then let's go to border mode. Let's select this border, and we're going to hold shift with our move tool, and we're going to pull that forward just like that. So what this is going to give us is going to give us the polygons on this side, and then we're going to have this to where it kind of looks like the wheel well. And then let's just take this whole object and bring that forward until it touches our car body. Okay, now we want to bring it up to about the edge that the thickness of those panels that we created in the last lesson. So from here, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and delete the bottom half of these polygons, just like that. Then we're going to go ahead and select all of these edges along the bottom, like this, and I'm going to hold shift, drag that straight down until it meets the bottom edge of our panels. Then let's take the vertices along the front of that and pull those back in the X. Okay. I'm going to add one more segment across this, so edit, swift loop, add a segment right across the middle, and then take these vertices right here and push those forward until they meet that edge there. So it should look something like this. Alright, very good. Now we want to create the same thing on the back side. This part right here is going to be pretty much the same. Let's hold shift and drag this back, and let's place it right about here, and then all we really have to do is maybe scale it up a little bit or even just pull it up. So I'm going to try to center that up. Let's hit Alt X. Let's center it on the wheel, and then let's just scale it. So scale it in all 3 directions till that meets there. And then grab your move tool, pull that forward, and then just grab your vertices, like along the back side here, and let's pull those back. And I'm going to take this edge right here, and in my left view, I'm just going to pull that up right up to here. Perfect. So now, let's take this object and let's connect it to this one. So we're just going to use attach, and now they are both together. And then, with that, I'm going to attach them. So let's isolate them really quickly. Let's go to edge mode, and let's select these edges. Okay, and actually not those edges. Let's select the bottom edge. We don't need the sides of that. Let's bridge this, okay, just like that, and then double click on this edge, and you'll notice it's selecting around the wheel. Deselect all of those edges that are beyond that. Actually, let's just select this edge and then do it like this. Control click. Hold shift, drag that straight out, so it's going to create a nice flat bottom to that. And I'm going to make sure that that is planar. So what that means is it's perfectly straight. So let's make sure that's straight in the Z direction, and then also let's set our X value to 0. Let's turn off isolation mode, And then we need to bring out these edges along the front, so hold shift, pull that out, and I'm going to pull it out until we get to the front edge here. And then I'm going to pull that up so that way it's hidden in this little crevice. Let's go vertex by vertex, shaping this. So I'm going to pull this over like that and then pull it down. And then I'm going to take this one and pull it straight back. I'm going to need another segment right in here anyway, so let's go to Edit, Swift Loop, add that there. And let's pull that forward. I'm also going to pull this one forward a little bit. Okay, so that's hiding that. And then from here, let's go across the back. So we're going to take those same edges, hold shift, drag that all the way back here, and then we're going to pull this up in the Z, and let me actually pull it back a little bit further, right about here. And then we'll go vertex by vertex, pulling that back in the Y until that's hidden. Okay, and then let's take this one right here, let's pull that over in the X, and then in the Y, just kind of help that. Let's leave it right where it was at. I think we'll be fine with that. We could actually take the edges of this and cover that up a little bit more if we wanted. So you can take these edges here. Well, not all of those, but just these edges. And it looks like we're getting part of that. I don't really want that. So you can take these edges and probably pull that over a little bit more, and then take this edge, and let me grab one of these vertices there. Take this edge here, and that set of edges, pull that down, and that'll kind of cover up the bottom of that a little bit better. Might want to tweak the placement of these vertices, but I'm just kind of showing you one way of getting around that. Okay, so there's that. Now, the most important thing with this as well is it does cover up the bottom, but we also really need it to cover up any areas that we might be able to see through, like this mesh here. We really want to cover that with this body pan, or this this belly pan, so that way it doesn't render through that and then showing, you know, the back side of the wheel or something like that. So to do this, let's grab these edges here, and let's also grab this one, hold shift and drag that straight up. Okay, hit F3, and you're going to get something that looks like this. And what you'll probably want to do is go ahead and grab each vertex here and just pull that back as far as you can, and you want to make sure that it's behind that mesh. So do the same thing here, pull that back until it's behind that mesh. Alright, so we should have something like that. Now you'll also need to do that across the front. So the front is going to be a little bit of a different shape. We're going to pull that up a little bit, and then we're going to pull it back like this. It's kind of at an angle. Now this vertex right here needs to go back in. It can't be sticking out through that. Okay, and then with that set of edges selected again, hold shift and drag that up in the Z, and drag that straight up, and then push it back again. You may have to do it one more time, pull it straight up, and then push it back. And you basically just want to move that until you have all of that covered up inside there. Nothing should be sticking out, and then you just have this pan that covers up the inside. Now we don't have to worry about that tail light there. We're going to be covering that up. If you really wanted to, if it was causing an issue, you could go ahead and pull that up again. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to really mess with anything, but you could pull that up and then just make your adjustments to your vertices here. Okay, and just make sure that it's not touching the car itself. Okay, and just covering that up. Okay, so now anything that's blue that you see, it's not going to render. You know, the windshield and the windows, we don't have to worry about that because we're not going to be using a material that you could actually see in there. We're not going to be building an interior for this car because then we'd have 100-something lessons for this. But the main thing for the next thing on this belly pan is we want to smooth it out using Turbo Smooth. And so we'll do that, but as we do that, remember, it's going to really start to soften up some of those areas. So let's make sure that we add in edges to control those loops. So these are pretty easy to do. We can actually just go right up through here. That's going to go all the way down and then probably right underneath here and then across the bottom. And you'll need to do that for both here. Okay, and so looking at Turbo Smooth, there we go. Not too bad. Looks pretty good. If you need to add any more segments anywhere to kind of flatten that out, you know, you're more than welcome to do so. Go ahead and place that maybe right there, and then maybe one right here along the front. And there you go. So we've got a nice sharp little belly pan there that is going to help us to hide any details that might render behind that. So go ahead and change its color to black, rename it to belly pan, and then give it a gray material. And there you go. So now we have our belly pan ready to go. And in our next lesson, we're going to get started with adding like the rubber seals and things like that around our window. So we'll get started with that next.